my name is Danielle Davis and I read, write, and roller skate in Los Angeles. Welcome to This Writer's Life, where we peek into process. This episode contains a super short writing activity that will help you think about what the writing process is really like for you. What is your experience of it? So the idea here is think about what writing feels like for you and think about if you can compare it to something else. If you want to go more in depth on comparisons, which are similes and metaphors, I have a whole episode for you to explore that, which you could do after this one if you want to go into more of a deep dive on comparisons. But for our purposes here, the idea is really for you to think about the writing process and what it's like for you. So I'll give you an example. For me, writing is like breaking in a new pair of hiking boots. That's the comparison I would make, or that's the simile that I would write to describe my relationship to writing. So writing is like breaking in a new pair of hiking boots. And here's what I mean by that. If you get a new pair of hiking boots, you might feel like, are these gonna fit? Are they the right size? Would I have liked a different style better? Are these gonna take me where I need to go, right? At first, they might feel stiff or uncomfortable. You might feel unsure in them and not very confident. You might not also know where you're going on your hike, for example, or if these are gonna get you there. So these hiking boots might feel really awkward at first, and you might not feel confident that they're going to be what you need. But then you start walking, right? And you start hiking and you do it more and you do it more and you do it a few days in a row. And then little by little, those hiking boots become more comfortable. Maybe your blister goes away, right? And they're not so stiff anymore. And you kind of hit your stride and you know where you're going and you're able to go farther while you're hiking, right? Even if sometimes it's difficult, you still feel like kind of, I got this, and I'm even enjoying this, right? Because I love hiking. Hiking's super fun, but hiking in brand new hiking boots that are stiff and uncomfortable is not super fun. So that's what writing is like for me. When I'm starting a new project, I feel kind of awkward and uncomfortable and unsure of where I'm going and what I'm doing and if it's gonna work and how will I get there, and all those questions are up in the air. And it can be an awkward, tense, difficult time, right? But then as I get going, I start writing more, I start practicing, I get deeper into the world, and then it feels like hiking, right? Which sometimes even feels like flying. Like I kind of know where I'm going, I've hit my stride, and it feels good. So I'm curious about if that resonates with you, or if there's another simile, metaphor, some kind of comparison that resonates with you. And it doesn't have to be positive either. It can be negative, it can be neutral, somewhere in between, whatever is honestly your experience of the writing process. So I encourage you to think about it. What does it feel like? You might say, writing is like blank, or the writing process is like blank, or writing feels like blank, or it might just be I feel blank, whatever you feel, not even a comparison, just what you feel when you're writing. And I hope that it helps you as you think about your own writing process and journey. Also, parents or educators, if your student or child writes one of these comparisons or statements about writing and they feel comfortable, I would love to be able to have the chance to read them so you could send them to me. I think it would be really neat, and I'm curious about what your experience as a writer is of writing, whatever it may be for you. There's a PDF in the show notes as well that will be a guide for you to tell you what this writing activity is all about. Thank you so much for spending this time with me here on This Writer's Life. I hope that you'll subscribe so that you can join me for future episodes. Parents and educators, please visit my website where you can sign up for my newsletter. That way you can get new episodes delivered right to your inbox, as well as any corresponding PDF if there is one.
Hi, I'm Varian Johnson. I'm the author of books including The Parker Inheritance, The Great Green Heist, and Twins, my new graphic novel illustrated by Shannon Wright, out now from Scholastic. if you want to be a writer, the first thing you have to do is to be a reader. And you have to read everything. Fiction, nonfiction, realistic fiction, historical fiction, fantasy, poetry, memoir, whatever the case, get your hands on it and read it. And I know you may be thinking, well, I don't really like this type of story. And maybe you don't. But there's probably something from that story, something from that form or that genre that you could take and apply to your own writing. So read, read, read. You also might surprise yourself and really like it. And then after you read a bunch, you have to write. Now I know with everyone's schedules now, it's really hard to find time to write every day. But still, I'm a big fan of setting up a schedule and sticking to that schedule with writing. Maybe it's not every day. Maybe it's only 3 times a week. Maybe it's only 15 minutes for those 3 times a week. Still, you set your timer on your phone, you sit down and you write. Don't worry about revising it later on. Don't worry if it feels wrong. Right now, you're just getting words on the page. And those words are going to add up over time. I'm a full-time writer now, but before that, I worked as a civil engineer. I designed bridges. And I would take my lunch break and I would eat for about 30 minutes and I'll spend the rest of the 30 minutes writing. Every day, 5 days a week. And slowly but surely, those pages added up to be more and more and more. Before you knew it, I had a scene, then a chapter, and then a book. So, just keep pushing at it. Slow and steady wins the race. And now, one last thing. Once you have all those pages together, don't be afraid to revise. But when I say revise, I'm not saying you move a sentence here or you put a period here and a comma there. I'm really saying I want you to re-envision the whole novel, the entire story. I want you to take out pieces that don't work and add better pieces. I want you to think about if it makes sense. Is it funny? Does it make you think? Does it make you cry? Is it getting across all the emotions, all the information you want it to? Don't be afraid to make it better. That's part of the job. The way I see it, the real work of writing comes in revision. And I am a notoriously long reviser. I will go through multiple drafts of a book. The Parker Inheritance had, I think, 15 drafts. Twins, I think, had 13. Now, you may not have that many drafts, but that's okay. Just keep working at it, trying to make the best book possible. And hey, at the end of the day, have fun. You are the master of this story. You can create worlds and people and all these things that's only limited by your imagination. So don't be afraid to step outside of the box and try something new and imaginative and fun. Happy writing.